Hello, hello, JJ DiGeronimo here. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I love these conversations. Every week I get so excited to find and discuss some of the evolutions of people just like you that have hit a wall or found a situation or decided that what they were doing is no longer working for them. And they really start this journey of self-discovery and tapping in and finding things that illuminate their path. And today I'm very excited to introduce to you Eva Müller. She is calling in from, I believe, Austria, and she has had a really fascinating evolution from the time that she really realized that what she was taught to do was not really working for her. And now she is able to use her gifts, which she has dust off, like many of you, or some of you are working on it, dusting off gifts to really tap into her truest gifts. So, Eva, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, JJ, and hi, everybody listening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I love this. And, we talk a lot about energy and frequencies, but I think what I'd love to really dive into is some of the transmission work that you do to really tap into your highest truth. And so, before we get into any specifics, maybe you could just set the tone on, what does transmission of your highest truth mean?
Great question. So energy transmission in general, a transmission is pure information. That's light that's coming in. So I work with high vibrational light and I can transmit it to people in person, online, or even via a website. So this is a new project I just came up with a while ago. And people can receive the energy, so this pure information. And this specific one I'm working with is pulling people towards their personal highest truth. So moving them away from things that don't serve them, from low vibrational energies, from emotions like, fear, anger, anxiety, resistance to life, and so forth. And life circumstances, they're not serving them anymore. Let's say it's job, is it a relationship, maybe a place where they live. And the energies help them to realize that and to let go of these things a lot easier. So, it's one thing to recognize it, to realize, okay, this is not serving me anymore. But then the energies are just supporting. So they support the process of letting go. And then when this is happening, there is basically a space of neutralization. So I'm in a place where I feel like more inner peace, more alignment. Life is flowing. So life energy and life itself is flowing through me. I feel aligned. And from that place, then the energies pull everybody to their personal highest truth. This would be the most optimum timeline people can experience in this life.
That sounds fabulous, really fantastic. And so, people that have visited therapists or have done other types of like self evaluations and really getting to sort of the nut of some of their truth, how does this supplement or how does this work for them if they're used to like discussing every single event in their life? Is this something they can do with sort of swiping the energy away without having to dive into every moment?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when you talk about certain things, it's first a memory from the mind, and then also a memory from, so what I call the system emotions that got stuck in the body and energy body. So, for example, there was an experience a few years ago, and when you think about it back, like the thoughts are coming up, the story is coming up, and then also the emotions get triggered again, and then you basically can relive it, right? So this is like you tap into past events, and healing and clearing them is one way, is to just think about them and like analyze it and go with the mind into those areas. But what I help people with is actually to clear the emotions, so that people, even if they think back to that event, there is no emotional trigger anymore, so they don't experience the emotions anymore. And the goal is to, I'm not saying to erase the past, but to heal and clear stuck energies. So basically energies that we have accumulated throughout our lifetimes that are not of our highest truth, because everything what is of our highest truth is happening in the present moment. We live in the present moment. That's the only thing that exists. We have a mechanism in the system that gives us the possibility to kind of have an experience of a past and a future. This is what most people are experiencing. But this mechanism, like with my work, starts breaking down, and then people only live in the present moment. So they don't even have a possibility to tap into past and future anymore. It just doesn't exist. So only the present moment. Yeah, and basically to reach that, let's say that goal, the energies from the past, which are in our system in the present moment, so they are not actually in the past, they just need to be released because they got stuck at a certain age or at a certain time. When we are very young, let's say 3 or 4 years, the baby, for example, has a meltdown and a emotional breakdown, and then in the present moment, it cries, it screams, and the emotions are passing through. But when we get older, we kind of are taught to be quiet and not be emotional and to deal with the emotions differently. And then they start getting stuck. And so we pile them up throughout our lifetimes. And then they're just there and they get triggered through different events. So old emotions are getting triggered through different events in the present moment. And this is why it's hard to actually experience a present moment, because emotions are being triggered, thoughts are also being triggered from past events. So often we pull the past into the present moment because of that. And we also do the same, we project it into the future. So this is why it's hard to actually experience a present moment. And energies are just helping to clear the system. And the goal is to clear the system completely so that in the present moment, we experience what we need to experience. So all the emotions, all the thoughts, but just because of we're experiencing the present moment.
That sounds incredible. I mean, when you're basically saying you're going to clean out energy that's no longer serving you, that's impacting your experiences right now.
Yeah.
I love that. So, how long does it take? I mean, if people are thinking, "Oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to work with Eva." Like, how long does it take? How do you, and I know everybody is different and, some emotions are deeper than others.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it depends on how much time people want to invest to do this kind of work. And if you do something daily, like I have guided meditations or healing sessions, for example, I just offer all sorts of different possibilities so that people can find their best possible way to connect. And after, let's say, a few weeks or months, again, like I said, depending on the person, people can already feel big changes. So there is less fear, there's less resistance to life, less anxiety. They just feel more open because this is what the energies are doing. They're opening up the system, they're expanding the system, so body, mind, that more light can flow, and then life is experienced just easier. It gets more enjoyable. It's more of a flow. So everything is just flowing and we go with the flow. So the more open the system is, the more we can go with the flow. And when we go with the flow, also the healing and clearing happens a lot quicker. Yeah. So again, depending, some people carry a bit more karma, some people a bit less. But usually after a few months, people can already experience absolutely results. And then, of course, when you go all the way, this takes probably a few years because we piled up stuff all our lifetime. So.
But it's daily. Everyone, it's like starting daily, just a little bit every day and working on it. And I always say, shift your frequency, shift your life. And I think what you're saying is let's clean out the old, let's take out the older energies so that our averages are higher and we have a better life experience.
Exactly. And this is raising the vibration. And raising the vibration is really a system change. So the system becomes lighter. We carry more light, and light is higher information. So we actually change, we transform ourselves. So we're not the same person anymore. So it's not just about, being connected to high vibrational emotions, which can help in the present moment. When we listen to a good song and we feel elevated, this is possible, but we kind of want to go and transform our system. So the higher vibrational we are, the higher vibrational our life experience gets, because our own consciousness, we are that, and it's reflecting into our life experience. So we are creating our own life experience, and the high vibrational we are, the life experience changes also to be more high vibrational. Like this is how it works, like you can't go around this. So always, depending where you're coming from, this is also your experience on the outside.
Yes, I, like you, have been on a similar journey of cleaning out my vessel, I call it, and really looking for energies and finding energies that are no longer serving. And sometimes I go in thinking I'm gonna, work on something in a relationship, a current relationship, but I actually end up going way back to my childhood and how that energy showed up before. And so I'm a big believer that you keep having opportunities to learn the same lesson.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Life is showing us definitely that we still have something in our system, and this is where the energies are supporting us. So they also go into areas where we just don't have any information about. So either because we can't look into it because it's too painful, or it's just like way back from the past. So they are working on our system, and we don't consciously have to know what they're doing. And I, after, like, let's say a session, let's say a guided meditation or a healing session, in a healing session I just do a little bit more healing and clearing, and I guide through everything. So I share what I'm doing. People just feel elevated, lighter, filled up with light. Then also the identification starts to dissolve, being identified with the small self, with life itself, taking everything personal. So there's a lot more going on than just clearing the emotions. These low vibration energies, it's really like awakening to our true nature, and this is also part of that is disidentifying from the small self and from the ego. Yeah, this part of it as well.
And you mentioned they go in and help you clear it out. Who is they?
Yeah, it's energies. So I work with them. They're high vibrational divine energies, and whatever is needed for that reason, energies are coming in, and they basically. So depending on for what kind of work I'm doing, when I do healing work, it's mostly energies from creation. So they come in. And when I do work for people and help people to realize their true nature, then they come from beyond creation. So from the Brahman, from the absolute. So different energies, yeah.
And I'm sure one day you weren't just sitting at your desk or waking up thinking like, oh, I'm going to work with the divine. So how long did it take you to really come to your truth and your true essence of the work that you're doing now here on planet Earth?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still on the journey of learning because it's an unfolding process, and I'm learning every day, and I'm integrating, this high information that I was receiving. So just to have to say that as well. But I started meditating and went through my own process, and then about after 3.5, 4 years, these energies started to come in. And first, it was just a transmission I could do in silence, so there was no content. And then I got the information from the energies, so basically just the impulse to start working with people on one-on-one settings. And then I did that. And then after a while, information started to come in. A whole setup started to form itself, how I can actually heal and clear the system. So consciousness is just using, this body-mind vessel and how I operate, how I think, how I learn things to understand how healing works. So this is why it's a bit different for everybody. So I basically consciousness created this outline, I guess, for myself so that I can make sense of it. And then I did more and more of working with people, and yeah, just more information came in. And then I started working with groups because I realized that it's actually more efficient to work with groups, and the energies are stronger and they can also work more efficient. And so this is a constant learning by doing process.
So that is really powerful. And I love the fact that you're so transparent that you're continuing to learn and working with divine energies to help other people on their journey. And I feel like you've put so many years in now, there's so many people you're helping. Is there a theme or a type of person that works really well with this type of healing modality?
I mean, it's for everybody who is interested in healing and clearing, but mostly it's for people who kind of seek truth or seek to realize their true nature. So actually, spiritual seekers. These would be the people I work with the most. So not just people who want to elevate certain areas of their lives or just look into certain areas. It's really like people who want to go the whole way. And it doesn't mean that people are going the whole way in one lifetime, but I just help them on that passage in this lifetime. And the energies are just so powerful, so they can actually take people all the way if they're open for that. So take them to the absolute, yeah.
That's beautiful. And you talk about, I mean, you've created you've created the four aspects of your truest self. Was that also come through to you in a transmission?
Yeah, I mean, every now and then in a session, I have like, what is it like? I have to, this word sometimes doesn't pop in English. It's like astral traveling. Yeah, it's like astral traveling, but just in a guided session. And then we go places and realize things, and information comes in. And with that, so the latest one that came in is the light aspect, or the soul. It's within creation. So we have different aspects. We have the human, we have the light aspect, or some people call it the soul or the higher self. Then there is the oneness. So we all experience within the oneness, exist within the oneness. And then there is also the absolute. So we have, everybody is and experiences beyond the human all these aspects, and they're there all the time. So it's all about tapping into them, or being able to experience them within the human experience as well. But they're there all the time.
So that's interesting. So everybody has the 4 aspects of your truest self.
Yeah. Because the human is let's say, the most limited one. And then the next one, so the higher self is when the system is more open and more expanded, it can tap into the information of the higher self. So because this information, a good word to describe it is just, it's very high vibrational, and there is just a lot of light there, and the system has to understand it. It has to be able to translate the information. So this is the transformational process. The system has to be open enough, the consciousness has to be expanded, and also the nervous system has to refine over time, so that we can get this information in, because the information is not so much coming through the intellect, but it's like a knowing from the system, from the body. And this is where the true nature starts to shine through. So it starts to shine through, and we get the information through intuition, for example, or impulses, or just downloads, as some people call it. The information is just there.
That makes sense. And so I was thinking more of a quadrant, but what you're explaining is almost like halos, like circles around you, and being able to tap into this higher level of knowing.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, we all have a bubble. So I call it the consciousness bubble. And this is where we create our own reality. And always depending on where we are, level of consciousness, and how much the system has been healed and cleared. So the openness, this is also how the life experience is being created. And the openness is then, do we have access to then the higher self? Do we have access to the oneness? Everything is one. So everything is consciousness. And then after that, do we have access to the true nature, to the absolute? Because that's also there. It's holding creation. So there is creation, it's the oneness, and what's holding the creation is the absolute. So we all are all of that at all times. So it's just there. And it's about, opening and expanding the system, so that we can eventually tap into that and live that experience, or live that truth.
I think that's fascinating. And to look at it that way, that we have access to all of this information, knowing, wisdom, and light. But for us, we just have to unlock the layers that gives us the ability to tap in.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, thank you. Amazing.
It feels amazing. And so your next project, I loved reading about your next project and getting information from you on the next elevations.
Yeah, next elevations is a possibility I shared briefly in the beginning. It's basically a way to connect to these high vibrational energies through a website. So I don't need to transmit the energies anymore. Like, you don't have to meet me on Zoom or connect through a YouTube video, for example. But it's like you go on the website, you press a button, and then the energies start to come in for you, and works on your system 24/7. So it's just there all the time, and pulls you towards your personal highest truth. And there's healing and clearing happening on the path, and realizations are happening. And I meet with people once a month, so that they can, ask questions, and I do a system upgrade, because light is coming in all the time. It's super strong. There is so much of it, and we can only receive a tiny bit, because our system is just very small compared to, what's out there. And I do system upgrades, so that we can receive more of the information and of the light that comes in. And then there are also a lot of healing videos. So people who haven't done so much healing or clearing yet, or not in certain areas, that they get a really like a boost of healing and clearing and expansion so that the light can work better on their system. And we have absolutely great results because not everybody has time to meditate. I mean, you can meditate with it because the energy is there. But you don't have to. So the energies are working. Doesn't matter if you're sleeping or if you're working or if you like go for a run. They're just there and support you on the spiritual journey. And spiritual journey and life experience is not separate. It's exactly the same. It's just a different layer. And so it's of course also supporting life experience. Yeah.
Well, this has been fabulous. I love this. I could talk about this for hours. I feel like bringing this knowing to the collective in different ways is really important. So they recognize that there is more to what we are doing, most of us. And people like you that are 5+ years ahead have ways, tools, programs, access to really help them streamline some of the work that they need to do from the inside out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many people out there right now who are like presenting their work online and on podcasts like yours, and it's just so great. And some people find resonance with this person, and some people with that person, and we all are moved into the same direction. It's just different vessels, different opportunities to go into the same direction. And yeah, thank you very much that I was able to present mine. And yeah.
I love it. I'm going to check out the next elevation because I love the idea of the work being done while I'm doing other work. So I really appreciate you, Eva, joining us here. All your links are below. For anybody that's interested, please connect to Eva directly. And I just really appreciate you joining me and sharing your story and, more importantly, your work.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate being here. And thank you for the amazing questions. That was really great talking to you. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone listening. We look forward to seeing you here again next time.
Thank you.